Cleared all my cookies. I cleared all my cookies out. Yes.
Today's date is April 19th, 2026. My name is Noah Zismore. I am an 8th grade student at Bicultural Hebrew Academy of Connecticut. I will be interviewing my grandfather, whose name is David Wilkof, about his dad, and my great grandfather, Meyer Wilkof, about his life and legacy. Okay, let's start with you telling me your full name.
David H. Wilkof.
And what is your dad's full name, my great grandfather?
His name in English was Meyer Wilkof, and in Europe he was Meyer Wilkof.
And were you named after anyone, and was your dad?
I was named after my first name was named after. That's a good question. That's a good question. My middle name is Hanoch. Hanoch was named after his mother, who was Hinda. Um, who was oh, so my first name was actually after my my mother's grandmother, which would be Deborah Ostrioeski, who was also from Europe, who came to America and passed away in 1937. She's buried in Canton, Ohio.
Mhm.
And I don't know who he's named after. He was the fifth of five children. And I don't know if he was named after somebody or if they ran out of names by then.
Okay. And do you have a Hebrew name and does Meyer?
Yeah, mine is David Chanoch Ben Meyer, and his was Mayer Wilkoff. No middle name. They didn't have a lot of middle names.
Okay, so in class, I've been learning about
Oh
immigration.
wait, his full Hebrew name, sorry, was Meir ben Nehemiah. So it was Meir, the son of, in English, Nehemiah Nehemiah, who apparently, from the looks like from the documents I have, he was known as Chemia. So Chemia was a derivative of Nehemiah.
Um, in class, I've been learning about the immigration of Jews to the US and other places. Do you know where Meyer's parents and our family immigrated from?
Meyer's parents didn't immigrate. His father, who would be my grandfather, died in 1919 in Poland. We surmise it was from the typhus or flu epidemic of 1919, which killed millions of people after World War One. So he didn't immigrate, and his mother, Hinda, um, was killed with most of the entire family who was all there. During World War II, we pretty sure it was in Treblinka death camp in December 1942, I believe.
So they never immigrated.
Yeah, they didn't immigrate.
Okay.
He left by himself as a youngster.
Before your dad immigrated to the United States or a different country, did he talk about what was life like before they left?
So he wasn't a big talker about stuff like that because I don't think a lot of people were. Between World War One and War Two, it was very difficult in Europe, Poland, for Jews. For a lot of people, there were between the two wars, there was a tremendous amount of poverty, starvation, and hunger between the wars. It was actually much better in Poland in the 1800s than it was between 1918 and the Second World War. So there was a lot of animosity to the Jews because, in part, they held them responsible because they felt many Jews were communists and they
Hmm.
held the communists responsible for it. So it was very difficult. He talked about it being very difficult when he left.
Okay. Um, did Meyer's parents or anyone in his family experience or were they affected by like the Holocaust or pogroms?
Well, um, so his father passed away right after World War One, so he was not affected, other than affected by viruses. I guess. They killed him.
Hmm.
That's what it looks like. But his mother and his brother Ephraim and Yaakov, likely his sister, um, um, what's her name? This it'll come to me. Apparently, they were all killed. They were from a town called Dubrava, small town right by the Belarus border now, by Grodno. It was pretty much wiped out completely and destroyed, and most of the people were rounded up, and they were shipped to the Treblinka death camp, which was not too far away. It was the very most efficient death camp in all of World War II in terms of it was only open for a year, but it killed out about the same number of people there as they killed in Auschwitz.
Oh, so it was like one of the worst ones.
It was, from an efficiency standpoint, it was the most efficient in terms of death. Auschwitz, at the very least, had a work camp component associated with it. So where there were survivors of Auschwitz, even though there were almost 1 million people killed, but there were survivors. Treblinka largely didn't have survivors because the train would pull up in the middle of the forest and it would unload the passengers either from the area like he was from or from Warsaw. They would ship them up. They would get off the train, and within 24 hours, they were exterminated. So there was no work camp associated with it all.
Did any of his siblings survive?
He had one brother who came to America before World War One, so he survived. And other than that, everybody, there was nieces, nephews, mother, brothers, sisters, everybody else was killed.
Um,
So
can
if
you
he
tell
if
me?
he hadn't left, you wouldn't be interviewing me at this moment. I wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, it affects a lot.
Yeah.
So about our family's immigration to the United States, so it was only Meyer who came over. But when did he come?
So he tried to come over in 1930. The U.S. had 1929, 1930. The U.S. had shut its doors to immigration. In the earlier part of the century, there were hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Eastern Europeans and Jews who came over. He couldn't get in, so he went up north to the sea and caught a boat in Hamburg, I think, or in Gdansk, which is also called used to be called just forgot. And he took a boat to South America. So he got off in South America in Argentina during the beginning of the Depression, and then he was there for a little while. Went to Paraguay for a little while, and then he ended up, for the most part, the rest of his stay in South America was in Uruguay, in Montevideo. And he was probably in Montevideo for 16, I think 16 years. It
Oh,
was a
that.
nice country.
Oh, he was there for a while before he came to
A
America.
long time. He had a business down there by the wharf. There were a lot of other Jews that ended up down there in that small country because they couldn't get in the United States. So,
Hmm.
so there were a lot of Jewish, acquaintances and friends that he had in Montevideo.
So he left before the Holocaust, right?
He did, right?
So why did he leave? Because it was like getting bad for Jews, or?
Yeah, there was no opportunity. It wasn't good for Jews, but wasn't good for anybody really. It was
Mhm.
a poor country. The whole part of that Europe was poor. It was very difficult. Um, he didn't have much of I think, a future there. Probably, maybe went to school for the sixth or seventh grade. I don't know exactly what. And so many who could tried to leave, and he was the one because he had a certain energy level
Hmm.
um, to move and to do things. Very energetic kind of person, and it was hard to keep him down. So he picked up and left, and then during the war, the letters would stop coming, from his mother,
Yeah.
and that's because they weren't around anymore.
Where did he enter the country?
Um, that's a good question. I think he took a flight. Pan American airline flight. They were the major international airline for the United States back in the 40s and 50s. And I think he took a flight from Uruguay to, I think, Rio to Miami. Now, did he come from Miami and go right to Canton, Ohio? Or did he go to New York? I'm not sure exactly where he ended up coming in through, but he had family in Canton, Ohio.
So that's where he like settled.
Yeah, all the Wilkofs. There's two Wilkof family names in the United States. One's got two F's, one has one F. So he's one F. They all came from Dubrava, and they all ended up in Canton, Ohio, which is for the people who are maybe watching this, it's about 50 miles south of Cleveland. It had about 2,500 Jews. Pretty vibrant town back in the day, and known for the Football Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, this is great background. Thank you. Now I
you're
would like
welcome.
you to take out the items that you brought to talk about today. Not just the artifacts. I printed out pictures if
Yeah, I don't have anything because I'm
yeah,
traveling, as
fine.
you know.
So this is
So
like a
this is a very good
medallion.
piece. Yeah, this is a very good piece you're looking at. I'm lucky to have this. I've read about it. I don't know anybody else who has that. So it's a silver piece that he was given when his father died. I don't. It's a little unclear how old my father is. We
Hmm.
thought he was born in 1913, but I have documents that show he's both born in 1911 and 1909. So he was either 6, 8, or 10 when his father died. And what this basically says on there, let me see if it's in Yiddish. It's a silver thing, and they would give it. They gave it to him so that he would always know when his father. Yeah, that's good. Hold it there. He would know when his father's yahrzeit date is. So it says the yahrzeit. The first top line says yahrzeit fund mein Futter. This is from him, my father. It says Chemia. The first letter there is a chet.
Hmm.
Chemia, which would be short from Nehemia, but apparently he went by that. And it says the eighth tug, which is the eighth day of Nisan, 1919. What is that? What is that? Right? What is that right before the word Nisan? Can you see? I can't tell what that.
I don't
I don't
know.
know what that. I don't know what that word is now. Uh, but it's, yeah, I don't know. I can't make. I know what it is, but I can't make it out for some reason now. So anyway, he was the eighth day. Basically the eighth day of Nisan, which would be a week before Pesach.
Hmm.
So he carried that around from 1919, and it came into my possession. I have an
Yeah.
older brother who lives in Israel, so it's a silver piece.
How
It's
old is
and
it?
it's so as well. I imagine it was made in 1919, so it's 107 years old at this point. It's a very sentimental piece to have. I would say at this point.
And it came from Poland?
It came from, yeah, my brother. I'm sure my father took it with him when he left Poland at the age of whatever, 16, 18, or 20.
Yeah.
He carried it around
Hmm.
until late, and then he gave it to me.
Okay. And then this is the photograph. I only have a black and white printer, so
Oh, okay. You only have a black and white printer?
yeah.
What's up with that family out there
I
in
don't know.
Connecticut? So
Um, yeah.
this is quite a picture. So my father's on the left,
Right here.
and I'm in the back. It would be a beautiful red beard if you had color. My mother's on the right there. In the middle is your bubby. You see that in the middle is your bubby.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and in the bottom there is your Aunt Elisheva.
Oh, really?
And that little girl that Bubby's holding is none other than Nava Zizmore,
My
your mother.
mom.
So we were visiting Phoenix, it looks like, when that picture was taken, where,
Hmm.
where my parents lived at the time.
So, like, how old is this
It's
picture?
probably, well, looking at your mother's age, it looks like it was probably taken in 1985.
Okay, so it's not from like a celebration. You guys are just like in Phoenix to visit.
We probably just went to visit, is my
Yeah.
guess, the two of us.
Okay.
All right.
Hmm. Um, okay, now I'll ask you like a few questions about
Do you have
Meyer's.
that?
life
Do you have
growing
that
up.
other document? Did you print it
Yeah,
out, that birth certificate?
I did not print it out, but here I can pull it up. One second. This is
No, that's
the
the wrong one.
photo, like in
That's
color.
yeah. Oh
Of
yeah,
him.
okay.
Oh, and is that him?
Yeah, that's that I think was probably maybe their maybe 40th or 50th anniversary. I forget.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And is this, I can't really
That
see it.
uh yeah, unfortunately when you turn it, it flips. What is that?
It says, um, yeah, it's the certified Ohio.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's
on.
his. Yeah, that's it. That's probably his um his naturalization papers when he became a U.S. citizen. That was probably 1955. But the one is a birth certificate. It's dark. It's a dark copy. See if it's the next one. Yeah, the turn. Yeah, your phone turns when you turn it.
Here.
Just
I, so this is the birth certificate.
right. So I found this actually just last week. I never realized I had it. On the right, it's kind of hard to see there, but on the right, it actually it's all in Polish, and it has the name of Wilkof. Wilkof, tap that. Yeah, the name of Wilkof. It's spelled, I think, Wolkov. In
Yeah.
that, yeah, that's how it was pronounced over there. And on the right side, slide it over to the so you can see the far column. Yeah, and in that one, you can actually see in letters. It says Meyer. So this birth certificate was 1909, which
Hmm.
seems to suggest that the other dates that he used were inaccurate, and he was 4 years older than he was. So that was published by the Polish government.
Okay. Um, so now I'll ask you some questions about like Meyer's life growing up. So where did Meyer grow up and like who did he live with? And like,
Well, he grew up in Dubrava,
yeah.
uh, and he grew up with his father until probably he was 8 or 10 when his father died.
Hmm.
It happened to be that his father, Chemia, came to America in the early 1900s and came to Canton, Ohio, and worked for 3 or 4 years to make money to bring everybody over. He went back to Europe, pulling with his money, bought some horses, and it was going to bring everybody over. And World War One broke out in 1914, and the government came and confiscated all his horses, so they never left. Um, I think by the time I thought he was born in 1913, so he was the last child, and it was probably a big gap
Hmm.
between everybody else. So my guess is that at that time it was very possible that some of his older siblings were already out of the house, married and out of the house. So he
Oh,
grew up
really?
probably maybe with one sibling or by himself.
Hmm.
And then his dad died in 1919. I think it was probably really difficult between 1919 and 1930 in his teenage years before he left.
Hmm.
He and other young men got up and just left and took boats to wherever they could go to. Some went to Cuba, some went to other places in South America. He went to Uruguay.
Yeah, so it's okay if you don't know, but like what was life like? Did he like his school and did he
Uh,
have like or did he go to school?
well, he went to Cheder, so Cheder, he went to I went to these little Jewish Cheders. I don't know if they had public schools that he went to or not back in
Yeah.
those days. That town, that shtetl of maybe 5,000 people was probably at least 50% Jewish.
Hmm.
That's what they were like back in then. They were probably there for 300 years,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like people moved around. So I probably didn't like school. He was smart, but he didn't like school. He was feisty, and it's always the kind of things you remember when you grow up. Try to remember this. You never care about listening to what your parents have to say about life when you're young,
Yeah.
or in his situation, a little bit of that maybe he didn't want to talk about, and then they're gone, and then it's too late to ask anybody. So
Hmm.
then there's these big gaps in our family history because everybody who has knew anything is gone.
Did Meyer go to synagogue or shul?
Well, yeah, there was one. There was, I think, one shul in town. I went back to that shtetl in 2018 with
Mhm.
Uncle Neil, my brother, and your Aunt Ronit and your cousin Yonatan, and we visited it. It was all destroyed during the war. It was all rebuilt, but they took us around, showed us where the shul was. We went to the cemetery, but I'm sure he went to shul sometimes, but he probably didn't like it.
Yeah, did he have
Probably
a
was.
bar mitzvah?
I have no clue. It's a good
All
question.
right.
I have no clue.
Um,
Yeah.
do you know his like favorite Jewish holiday? Like, did you ever celebrate them together or
Well, yeah, we grew up celebrating all of them.
yeah.
I don't know if he had any famous ones or not. My mother, your bubby, no, your great bubby, she was the one who drove all the uh, all the major religious practice in the household. She was the one who drove, being cut, keeping kashrut in the house,
Yeah.
and we took off all the day the chagim when I grew up in Phoenix, and there were no day schools, but we were always in shul with chagim, etc. But
Do you have like traditions on the holidays or
not not.
no,
I
not
mean,
really?
the normal little ones. You go to shul.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it was, and we didn't build a sukkah at home until I was already in my high school, but that was 1960s. It wasn't so common now. People
Yeah.
can't even imagine that's the case.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I wouldn't say he was a religious person per se,
Yeah.
although, we went to shul and all that, but he definitely, he identified very strongly as a Jew, though.
Hmm.
That was like he would make these comments and statements and all that kind of stuff. So it was a strange hybrid of
Yeah.
the Jewish soul.
Did anyone in your family serve in the military or no?
My my mother, your great Bubby, she joined the Navy
Oh,
in World
really?
War II. Did you know that?
No, I
When you
didn't.
come to the house, let me pull you out some of the artifacts I have. The
Mhm.
pictures, the big picture that's long where it shows all the other Navy. And during World War II, they had this unit in the military, um, in the Navy called the Waves. I don't remember what it stands for. The Waves were an adjunct female um, unit
Hmm.
that was associated with the Navy. You couldn't join the Navy per se like you can now as a woman or
Yeah.
Army or whatever. Back then, though, she volunteered. It's a little crazy when you think about it. She's in Canton, Ohio, and so let's see, in World War, it's 1940, 43, she was 30 years old. She signed up. She went to Chicago and she served in the U.S. Adjunct to the U.S. Navy. So I'll show you her pictures and little things that she got for the side. There are pins and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So she was a member of the Jewish War Veterans Association after she retired. Then
How did Meyer meet um his wife?
I think it was so there was other Wilkofs in Canton. I think when he got there, it was probably a shidduch because neither one of them were spring chickens.
Yeah.
They were, you know what that means? A spring chicken. A spring chicken is somebody who's young. You describe someone who's being a spring. You're not a spring chicken. It means you're not so young anymore.
Yeah.
You're getting older. So neither one of them were spring chickens. They were. Um, they got married in 46. So my mother was 33, and he was. I thought he was 33, but he may have been 37. So, but somewhere in there. So it was a shidduch because there were Wilkofs there, and then on my mother's side, the Lefkowitzes were inside of that town too. So they should have made. They got married.
Um, what did Meyer do to make a living in his adult life?
He was well when he was in South America. He had a store on the wharf that I understand was quite successful. The people would come off the boats. The Navy guys would get off the boats. The boats people would get off, and they would come to his store and buy a lot of stuff. I think he was pretty successful. He came to America, and for the most part, he did have a junkyard in Pennsylvania for like 1947 to 19 no 1949 to 1954. But other than that, he was a sales guy. He sold stuff for himself. He sold largely kinds of tools to a ranch, well, machine shops and other people that use tools. He sold them out of his car. So he was a traveling salesman
Yeah.
selling his own stuff. And his if you hear his his accent. Did you hear that
Hmm.
accent on the video? Did you see him talking in that
Yeah,
video I
I
sent to your
did.
mother?
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, the kind of Yiddish speaking guys out of a movie. That's what he sounded
It's
like, but
very heavy.
very heavy.
Yeah.
And, he grew up when he left Poland, so he spoke Polish and Yiddish. And then he went to South America. I understand his Spanish was very good.
Hmm.
And then he came to America, but that is much more difficult to transition into without a heavy accent. So he basically sold for 30 or 40 years as a traveling sales guy with a heavy Yiddish accent. And he did that until his 70s.
Did his wife work at all or no?
She, Bubby, she worked before she got married. She was bookkeeper type. She never went to college. She was very smart, but she never went to college. But she would run his business, though. She would keep all the books. She would do all the ordering and manage all that stuff.
Okay. Now wrap it up with like one more question.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for future generations?
Um, so as a parent, make sure you teach your kids Torah. That's the number one thing. That everything else is like secondary. The only reason we're having this conversation is 2,000 years after leaving the land. There are only remnants that are left.
Hmm.
So that's number one. Number two is if you have any questions, ask them sooner than later, because at one point people are gone and it's too late to ask any of those kind of questions. And make sure that you treat life seriously because it happens quickly. As my father said, he said he was in his 80s. He said life is like a dream. And if you think about he went from Poland as a kid to South America,
Hmm.
and then he came to America, and then he came to Canton, then he moved to Sharon, Pennsylvania, then he moved back to Canton, then he moved out to Phoenix and was in Phoenix for 4 years. So he was moving place to place, and he says life is like a dream. It happens so fast,
Yeah.
and it's a very it's a very elusive thing. So you have to make sure you treat it seriously.
Hmm. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, good luck.